Hello, everyone. Byakis. On the other side, the hallway had a cheap-looking upholstery spangled with constellations to match Club Zodiac's name. Here, it had been changed to Chinese-style red upholstery. Nakamura said the proprietor had changed. I wondered if they were trying to set up a Chinese restaurant in the interior. Then a few winged monsters I'd never seen before dropped down from the hallway ceiling. They were not altogether hornets, nor crabs, nor ants, nor vampire bats, but creatures unpleasantly, horrifically eerie. If I wasn't awakened to my persona, just looking at them might have driven me mad and sent me screaming from the room. That's how big of a punch they packed. They snapped back their wings with a whip, with a whip-like crack, and a malicious buzz started emanating from their abdomens, which were swollen like a hornet's. I'm glad we don't get to hear that sound because the Longinus mecha from the previous game were bad enough. They had mouths on what looked to be their heads, but it seemed like their voices came from below. I couldn't quite pronounce it correctly myself, but I heard noises like Biyaki or Bai-Ake and Ia Hester. At any rate, they were probably his right idea. This meant that they would be demons past this point. You're telling me to warm up, huh? Sorry, but I'm not going to waste my time swatting flies. Get out of here now. When I grumbled that to him, who was watching from somewhere, they made that grating... I assume that's Ia. This is why you gotta be very careful with your fonts. Noise from their abdomen simultaneously, and then flew with incredible vigor through that narrow hallway at me. So, they void, holy, and dark, and have photon cannon. What do you got? Let's do Agidine. That probably isn't... Actually, no, my regular attack is higher, so maybe I should do the other thing. Since they're not weak to fire or anything. $191? Okay, yeah, I just hit them twice. Let's just battle again. I can get fortune cards in this dungeon, but nothing else because he is not a good conversationalist. Ooh, a bead. When they died, the monsters foamed violently like dry ice. Then they vanished, leaving behind a nose-twisting stench. I couldn't afford to drag my feet here. I needed the other key that Nakamura forgot in the staff room in order to enter the VIP floor further in. It'd be easy to bust down a single door, but there was a policewoman inside. If I made a show of busting up the club, I'd get Nakamura in trouble, and the other me would get accused of a crime he wouldn't remember committing. I wanted to do this carefully as possible. I ran in, heading for the staff room. Oh. Shit about more rattle drinks. Be careful not to step in that. There's some items to the south. Okay, 10 beads, good, because that's useful here. And then chewing souls. Hopefully I don't need those, but those are always nice to have in the future. Although being able to buy them in this game is nice. Are any of these the things that I can talk to? No. Okay. This feels like a new song. I like it though. Rock and roll BGM. Get my persona ranked up. I'm not going to do grinding. I have a feeling it's unnecessary. Zarempusa. Keeping the gigantic fist because it's safe to not have. It's relatively safe not to have to worry about. Oh, I'm weak to that. Like, I don't need to see that, but I do like watching Apollo just punch things really hard. Oh, well, now I'm frozen. Now I'm possessed. Oh, didn't get possessed. Sweet. Let's see, there's a west set of stairs that I want to take. It'd be funny if they were weak to fire, but... What's funny is I realize I can make these continuous because I only have the one dude and I'm not changing it up very often. I'm getting a lot of money for because all of this stuff carries over to the regular, so that's cool. We're going to do a save, because I think this is the staff room. Yep, we're staying down here. Doot. Yeah, simple, classy beats. I could heal, but I think I'm fine. This too was unquestionably a secret room, but Shiori Miyashiro was nowhere inside. According to Yoshizaka, it seemed she requested her own death so she could arrest Joker. Normally, a single detective wouldn't go that far. It also concerned me that she forbade contact with any police officers besides my brother. There must have been something else going on. Could it have been that there's some connection between the police and Joker? This is a Shub Niggurath. Notice that, like, the Byakis and these are very specific Cthulhian mythos monsters, even if the stuff that we're fighting in the hallways aren't, as random battles. I spotted the key on top of the table, but when I tried to approach, the corners of the room twisted mushily with a nauseating stench, and from the twisted space, several filthy tentacles stretched out. I jumped back and just barely evaded them as the tentacles flung a thick mucus across the entire room. Ew. Smoke rose violently from the walls. This thing's limbs were melting them. Something was trying to rip through dimensions using... something was trying to rip through dimensions using the tentacles stretched to the walls as a foothold and force its way into this side. The walls crawled and so did my flesh. I had never seen this thing until now either. I guess Byakis and Shub-Nigguraths weren't in Innocent Sin. It seems the demons on this side were more grotesque and in worse taste than the ones I'd seen on the other side. Yep. Its body was at once like a festering cloud, an octopus, and a twisted tree, and its many mucus-discharging mouths set my teeth on edge. Its black feet were split like goat hooves. Yeah, because it's, oh, I forgot her name, but these are the children of that, I think. If a normal person had seen this monster, they'd probably have gone insane. When you awaken to your persona ability, to the other you who possesses power like gods and demons, you become able to summon a persona. If you call forth a god who holds sway over fire like my Apollo, you can even manipulate flames at will. In the depths of human hearts shared with all people, there is a domain where mythological archetypes dwell, and they grant an influence over an individual's personality development. Mayane said that anecdotes of mythological divinities the world over probably exist because of that. Gods and demons exist not in heaven and hell, but in the hearts of humanity. Personas even have an influence on physical and mental abilities. My ability to wield a sword like a master and my resistance to terror are both thanks to my persona. Gods and demons are not the only archetypes sleeping in the human heart. If the collective unconsciousness is where all human psyches are born and return to, that means I too exist somewhere in the world of the subconscious as a master of arms. But neither you nor I belong to this side. Go home. If I didn't settle things fast, I'd suffocate on this thing's stench. It's like he went to a anime or gaming convention. And the reek of the burning walls. I might have been a persona user, but if I couldn't breathe, I'd die. This thing reflects magic, so I'm just going to keep doing things the way I've always done. This thing has 1,000 HP, so this will take 3 rounds, I guess. Jeez. I am strong. Oh. I'll definitely want to heal, though. Sheesh. The second I managed to kick that pseudo goat out of this world, I grabbed the VIP floor key and leapt out of the stinking room. When Nakamura saw the state inside, he'd scream. I tried my best to be careful, though. I hope he wouldn't blame the other me afterwards. It's like, it's not... I don't have acidic mucus. Don't blame me, my dude. There we go, 2 rattle drinks. Kind of a just in case. Because I'm going to go down this way to see if there's any other items. Oh, well. Then I'll go over here. Okay, no other items. Yep. See, that takes 2 gigantic fists. And even if he gets me upset... Oh. Yeah. Oh no. That guy has a quest. I'm going to see about doing this in one recording, just to not... Well, I guess technically it'll be 2 recordings just because of the... I think I dodged it. So I didn't even take any damage from it. How petty. What do we got here? We got Demeter. Let's see. I'm just going back up because I already forgot. Nope, the one that I can talk to is Fortune. Haven't even run into him yet. What a jerk. Anyway. Sorry, Demeter, I'm actually a fan of yours, but I need to punch you in the face. I guess this is Tatsuya's solo music. Somehow it reminds me of, I think it was Phantasy Star 2? No, 3. Where the overworld music changed by how many party members you had. I really like the music in that game. I really like the Phantasy Star series in general. Though I admit, 3 could really use like a Final Fantasy VII style remake. Like, not like in the full Ghosts of the Alternate Timeline remake that 7 is doing, but in a we're completely remaking this game from the ground up kind of remake. Because I feel it, even though it's the black sheep of the series, it really deserves like each of the paths being more differentiated. You know, the more battles I get in, the more I'll be able to justify using healing items before the final boss of the section. Oh, you waster of my time. Definitely gonna need to buy more rattle drinks. Probably unnecessary to have used all of them, but there's some more rattle drinks. Oh yeah, we're making good time. I'm reading the name of the boss, and I have a feeling this is going to be hilarious. This dream again? I was so sick of it. This is all because lately I've been doing research on 105 right after getting off work. I ain't slept well at all. When I leaned my back on the wall next to the VIP floor entrance, I started lucid dreaming while upright. Okay, so this is a lady talking. A golden butterfly danced in a round room that was encircled by pillars. Its flight pattern was even frailer than usual, but I knew what was about to happen. I mean, the butterfly was just going to turn into a masked person and ask me my name like always. My kid brother had bugged me into playing this weird game, and ever since I've had this dream over and over again. Sure enough, the butterfly vanished and the masked person took its place. There was something unusual though. Their androgynous voice was harder to hear, and their body had gone dim and see-through. Now that I thought about it, the space between the pillars was redder and hazier than usual too. It doesn't matter how many times you ask, I won't tell you. Oh, she is giving up power. Besides, no one would believe me when I told the truth anyway. I'd seen him, the man who dismembered my little brother. What I wanted to know was the butterfly person's name. You want to know mine? Tell me yours first. No, now that I was an adult, it was different. What I wanted to know was whether the rumor was true or not. The rumor that the Joker is Tatsuya Sudo, the monster serial killer from 10 years ago who was never caught. Becoming a policewoman let me figure out that the culprit was Tatsuya Sudo, son of Tatsuzo Sudo, the incumbent Minister of Foreign Affairs. I had no proof, though. In which case, I just have to prove that the culprit from back then and Joker were one and the same, just as the rumor said, and then figure out where he was. It'd taken me 10 years to get to this point. My dream and my memories had gotten all mixed up. Just then I heard the door unlock and the knob turn. I drew my P230JP from my backslide holster, pulled back the hammer, and discharged the manual safety. The trigger would be lighter this way than if I had just released the safety and shot using double action. Ever since the Investigation Bureau for 501 was formed, the order for all officers to be armed had been officially given to the Juvenile Division, a cooperating jurisdiction. The entrance opened quietly, and a tall shadow entered the dim dance floor, backdropped by lighting. He carried a cylindrical weapon turned over in his hand. It looked like a sword, which matched the weapon wounds of 501's victims according to the forensic investigations. This is the police. Throw down your weapon. My voice sounded hoarse as I yelled that, aiming at the shadow's head from the side. Ugh. I could have used a hot green tea. Man, hot green tea is so good, though. Shiori Miyashiro, right? I have my gun aimed at your head. Throw down your weapon. The shadow barely moved as if it were a statue, but, and I didn't know if he was prepared for this, he immediately released his lethal weapon. I kicked away from where it fell on the floor, then shouted at him again with my gun still trained on him. You're under arrest for being in violation of the Swords and Firearms Control Law. Hands behind your head and drop to your knees. He placed hands on the back of his head and obediently dropped to his knees. I couldn't let my guard down, though. His victims weren't just cut down, they were somewhere that seemed like they were eaten alive. Who knew what kind of deadly weapon he had hidden on him? If he showed even the slightest sign of resisting, I can gun him down without hesitation. Japanese police officers can't do shooting practice beyond 36 bullets worth a year, so it's difficult for us to hit a moving target. Not to mention, there was no way you could stop homicidal maniacs and junkies with a single 32 caliber bullet. Overseas, there was a controversy over even my 9mm caliber bullet would have enough force. Of course, there's probably a problem with using excessive force. The truth is, though, I wanted 501 dead. He was clearly the culprit. Even if I secured him, he'd receive non-indictment due to being of unsound mind, get institutionalized, and, if I was unlucky, be back on the streets before a few months had passed. He'd leave free as a bird without anyone asking what his crime was. In this country, there's no judicial institution in place to handle mentally impaired people who've committed atrocious crimes. That's unfortunate. Involuntary institutionalization ultimately only targets the mental disability. They can't handle them as criminals. Consequently, boy, the boss fight might be the next one just because of all the reading. Consequently, once it's been judged that there's no fear of them harming themselves or others, they must be discharged immediately, even if the very doctor who examined them felt there was risk of recidivism. There have been several movements trying to introduce measures preserving law and order with stronger binding force. However, they've been stymied many times over because of strong protests from opposing faction that touts protection of human rights. So then what about human rights of the victims? The rights of victims who one day had their uneventful but happy lives ripped from them all of a sudden, and of those left behind. The perpetrator wasn't in a normal state of mind. They're incapable of taking responsibility. Are you telling me to accept that? They should be receiving help for the rest of their life in a place where they can't hurt no one. My loved one's life and future were unreasonably stolen, and the man's responsible gets protected in the name of human rights. This is the status quo for this country's administration of justice. Are you crying? It's natural for some to tear up when they're tense. He could see the corners of my eyes in this dim light. Whatever. It wasn't his business. Also, that's a wooden sword. The shadow jutted his chin at the weapon at the floor. I glanced at it without turning my head and confirmed that it was true. The hallway light streamed in from the door, illuminating a wooden sword. I couldn't charge him with violation of the Swords and Firearms Control Act law. Can I get up now? No, you may still have committed unlawful assembly with deadly weapons. What is your name? Tatsuo Suo. Tatsuo Suo? I turned up the hall lights with the remote in my other hand, then looked at the shadow's face. While there was intensity in it, it was definitely a young man. I guess he was about 17, 18 years old. He looked like Sergeant Suo. Was he former Detective Suo's child? What was he doing here? Was he Joker? I was confused. Do you have any ID? I think there's a driver's license in my wallet. I ride a motorcycle to school, and I doubt it's unregistered. He talked about himself like it was someone else. What a weird kid. Where's your wallet? Back pants pocket. Touch my butt. Stand up slowly, place your hands on the wall, and spread your legs. That always sounds wrong. Once he obeyed my directions, I completed a quick pat down. He didn't possess any other weapons. Inside his wallet was a normal motorbike license, all the so-called mid-license. There's his picture and name. This was Tatsuo Suo, alright? Okay, turn this way. Keep your hands where I can see them. He obeyed me without question. At least his face and photo matched up at a glance. But there was something different about the boy in the photo, who gave a challenging smirk, like he'd fight anyone who looked at him funny. It was his eyes. What was with this kid's eyes? It's like they'd suck me in. What child looked like that? There was a detached quality to his gaze, like he'd resigned himself to accepted something. How do you know my name? Were you the one who picked up on the other end of the line, or do you hear it from your father? The address on phone ID definitely matched what I had pinned down for former Detective Suo. No doubt about it, this kid was his son and Sergeant Suo's little brother. My dad? No, I saw your business card downstairs. He was probably surprised that I knew his father, given his puzzled expression. I see, did the people from the club ask you to chase me out? Or did you come to kill me? You wouldn't happen to be Joker, would you? No, the club's got nothing to do with it. I came to warn you because Yoshizaka asked me to. If you stay here, the Joker really will kill you. You mean the advance notice? If you know about that, then hurry up and go home. You don't understand at all. Your gun won't do a thing. The next moment, I found myself staring blankly at the center of his chest. It took me several seconds to comprehend that he'd seized my handgun along with my right hand and pulled me in close. His movements were so hyper-quick, my eyes played tricks on me, making it look like time skipped. He tightly gripped the small automatic handgun in his large, decidedly unboyish left hand. The slide was retreating a bit too. Now even if I pulled the trigger reflexively, he wouldn't shoot. Where in the world did he learn this? I felt the forceful beat of his heart on my cheek through his bright red bike leathers. This is turning into a different kind of story. When I looked up, I saw the handle of a fruit knife or something similar thrust all the way to the hilt in the wall next to his face. It hadn't been there a second ago. If my face hadn't been buried in his chest just now, that thing might have stuck dead on in the back of my head. When he removed his right hand, which held my head, he pulled out the knife next to his head while glowering at a spot further inside the club. The blade's about 10 centimeters long, but all of it had sunken into the wall. The physical strength of a person who threw it was impressive enough, but this kid who casually pulled it out was amazing too. How long have you been there? From the start, dork. At Tatsuya-kun's question, the voice of another man behind me responded. It sounded like he was a good distance away. It's been a long time since I had booze. Here I was just thinking over a drink or five about how to axe that broad when you get right in the way. The voice's owner? 501. It seemed that until this boy came, I'd been alone with him in the dark. When I arrived, I verified that we wasn't in the dance hall. When did you get here? A chill ran up my spine. When I twisted my body around as if to shake off my fear, Tatsuya-kun removed the hand that had been restraining me. Without a moment's delay, I alternated my gun at both of them in the direction of at both him and the direction of the voice. Neither of you move. Throw down your weapons. Tatsuya-kun didn't so much as glance at me. I too kept my aim and my eyes fixed on the man further in. 10 years had gone by, but he looked exactly the same. This was without doubt the man. The boy who stood next to Takuya's cruelly mangled corpse, his unforgettable crazed smile. I knew he was 501. Tatsuya Sudo, I finally found you. Ahaha, ahaha, ahaha. First time no see you, brat. The voices told me all about you on the other side. Sudo was sprawled out on the sofa deeper inside the dance floor, legs shamelessly stretched across the cushions. He was gulping down an entire bottle of dry gin, dangling from one hand. He probably pinched it from the bar counter next to him. He had a 5 o'clock shadow and unkempt hair grown out like a mane, and he was wearing nothing but a coat on his shoulders on top of a patient's gown from some hospital somewhere. What a freakish outfit. He was carrying a cylindrical weapon in his left hand. It was unsheathed Japanese steel. I could arrest him in flagrante delicto from this alone. Tatsuya-kun walked up to that pseudo without a trace of fear. At some point he picked up the wooden sword I knew I'd kicked away. He was next to me this whole time. How'd he picked it up? Flustered, I hurried after him. So you're Joker on this side, Tetsuya Pseudo. Seems like something he'd do. These two clearly knew each other, but Pseudo said that this was the first time. What do they mean by other side? What do you mean by he? Was it supposed to be Tetsuya Pseudo, the subject of all those unsavory rumors? I'm a stand-in, you know, a stand-in, just till the real one graces me with his awakening. The real Joker ain't me. You'd know that the best of all, though, wouldn't ya? Yeah. Jun isn't a filthy murderer like you. You're Tetsuya Pseudo. You can't just take Joker's place. Ah ha. Yeah, true. He ain't got an ugly mug like me. Thanks for the tip, you effing brat. What I need is a mask. Joker's mask. Pseudo uttered a vulgar snicker and gulped down the rest of the bottle. The booze that spilled out of his mouth trickled down his throat and drenched his blood-stained hospital gown. The one gracing him, Joker's stand-in. What in the world did they know that I didn't? Pseudo, it's not too late. You can still start over. Don't listen to his voice any longer. Start over? I don't know what the heck you're talking about, but even 10 years ago, this piece of crap killed a whole lot of people. You can't bring the dead back to life. The detective shouldn't say anything like that, but right then all I could do was scream it out. It didn't matter if he did turn over a new leaf. It still wouldn't bring Takuya back. Takuya. Tatsuya-kun glanced at me with a slightly shocked expression. You know that thermodynamics first law thing? It's all heat and energy. There's only so much of it to go around, and you can't change what you got. Get it? There's a fixed volume of energy in the universe. It's all just got different form. That's how it is. This fate stuff's just the same. You got one guy who gets to be all happy, and another guy who's got to be unhappy to make up for it. That is depressing. Like the meals you eat, right? You throw away what you can't polish off, right? I don't think that's the same. In return, some jerk starves to death somewhere else in a world. I get it now. The voices are amazing. Voices. That broad's kid brother, he was your stand-in. My stand-in? The day you little jerks changed your fate and ran off with your tails tucked, he got axed by me in your stead. You get it? Right? Tatsuya couldn't watch my face with widening eyes while listening to his story. I couldn't take my eyes off him either. Takuya was this boy's replacement? Incoming phone call. I got an order to kill Maya Amano. The moment Pseudo said that, a shadow that looked like a crimson figure flared up from Tatsuya-kun's body and assaulted Pseudo. A black figure seethed out from Pseudo's body too. The two men all of a sudden were locked in mortal combat. Over Tatsuya-kun and Pseudo's head, the shadows clashed in the same form. Scarlet and sable flames intertwined and whirled all through the dance floor like two snakes trying to swallow each other whole. Several bottles that had been left on the counter exploded, and alcohol-fumed flames ran over the countertop. Oh dear. That other guy's gonna be so mad. This is Joker, the persona that your sins sired. How do you like it? Looks just like you. Ah ha ha, ah ha ha, ah ha 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 ha. Lay just one finger on Mayonnaise, and I swear I'll hunt you down and kill you like the dog you are, every time in every world. And whose fault is it that she died, huh? Whose fault is the other side got blown to heck? Shut up. You killed them all. I almost feel sorry for them. Take a good hard look at my persona's happy face. Loser. Murderer. Pseudo. Oh yeah, get mad. Get madder. Let the voices take you. Voices, brat, voices. Voy, 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 voices, is. Ow. Okay, battle next time. Good lord.